Hello, hello, hello. Can you drop a one in the comments if you can hear me? I'm testing out some new tech and I want to make sure that everything is good to go. And then if you can drop a two, if you can see me. I think I might have to switch my screen around. I think you're only able to, oh, no, okay, I think you can see. Hey, okay, thank you, Brittany, for letting me know. And I did pin a comment, so if you are just joining, please give access to eCam to be able to see your name because I am going to be watching from the screen so I can focus on that instead of checking my phone. And, oh, my camera went away. Okay, oh no, okay. Instead of checking my phones, I want to make sure that I'm able to focus on you all. Let me shift this just a bit. Okay, so thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Alexandria. And so I'll drop the link again for that for you to be able to give access to eCam, and it just connects it because it's outside of Facebook item. So if you click that link, it'll ask you to add your name, and then I'm sorry. Once you click that link, it will connect you, and then I'll be able to see your name over on the software I'm using. All right. Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me go ahead and take this countdown down. We are going to get started. And like I said, I'm using new technology, so bear with me. Looking at a lot of things right now. And so first of all, thank you so much for joining Get Paid to Publish, the Power of Pre-Sales. And for those of you who are new to the group, we have a lot of new faces, a lot of new folks. Please just know that I really appreciate you being here. And I hope that so far, I hope the group has been helpful to you. You might not have had a chance to dig into different things, but you'll have time for that. So I know there were some issues with getting folks in, and so glad you were able to make it in. Okay, all right, we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a lot to cover tonight, and I'm Ashley Shepard, and we'll dig in. All right, so we'll start off with a little bit about me because, like I said, we have a lot of new names and faces, and I want to make sure that you know a little bit about me first. I am a wife, a mom of two, also a lifetime educator, and the owner of Shep Publishing House, where we help authors to publish profitably with efficient and effective marketing strategies. So we really focus on marketing because we know that that is how you sell books. So I'm also the owner of Chef Ashley Shep, and I won't say in a past life, but in that business, I did personal meal prep services, and so now I focus on books and master classes with that. And so a little bit of street cred, why you should listen to me, why am I a credible person? So I've been featured on Boss Branding with a Budget, their summit, Get Your Right On podcast, and then the Publish and Profit Summit. And then also I've been featured in Medium, Voyage ATL, Disney, yes, the Disney. That was last year. And then also my second book is actually on the Bible app, on the YouVersion Bible app. Okay, so who is this training for? I like to do this to make sure that you are in the right place. I know you want to get paid to publish, but we want to make sure that you are in the right house, Shep Publishing House. So who is this training for? This is for you if you want to get paid to publish as a self-published author. Now, we know that as indie authors, self-published authors, that can be a little bit tricky because you don't have a publishing deal, but that doesn't mean that you can't make money as an author. So if you want to make money before your book is out, this is the training for you. If you don't want to wait on Amazon to pay you 2 months later, if you're a new author, you might not know that Amazon does not pay out immediately. They give time for refunds, and so they don't pay you immediately. And so you won't get paid from Amazon for 2 months. Or if you need a boost in your reviews and sales. And recently I just hit 200 reviews on my second book, so that's very exciting. So we'll talk about ways to get more reviews. And if you're committed to customer service and following through, that's going to be very important for pre-sales. Okay, this training is not for you if you are not somebody who keeps your word. If you're not going to finish your book, that's obviously a big problem. This is not the training for you. If you aren't committed to keeping deadlines with pre-sales, you have to remember we live in an Amazon 1-day shipping, 2-day shipping society. And so we are competing with people's attention, and we want to make sure we're honorable in what we're doing. If you're somebody who doesn't want to communicate with your customers throughout the process, then this is definitely not the training for you. If you are more so focused on Kickstarter, that is not something that we're going to cover because of a few reasons, and I'll actually go over why Kickstarter is not the best option for most first-time authors. If you are interested in Advantage sellers, those are Amazon programs where you have to buy your book in bulk. This is not the training for that. This is for folks who don't have a lot of, don't want to keep a lot of inventory. You might not have a lot to be able to invest at the beginning to get copies of your book. So this is a way to work around that. All right, so now this is a story all about how I made $2,200 in pre-sales. So I'm going to walk you through what's called a case study. And what that means is it's a look at how I did what I did so that you can do the same thing or even better. I'll actually share some of my students who, and I have an educator background, so I call them my students, but some of my authors who actually surpassed my, my results when I did my first pre-sale for my first 2 books. So we're going to walk through that process for 2 book launches. And with that, I was able to cover my publishing costs for my books. And I actually was able to make extra money, meaning all of my publishing costs were covered. And then I had extra money to spend on whatever I needed to buy at that point. And I got paid before my books were out, which is a beautiful thing because then I was able to use that money for other things. And this happened not once, but twice. So we will dig into that. And my mouse, y'all, this thing, sometimes it does not cooperate. Okay, so just going over that, once again, this is going to talk about how I made $2,200 in pre-sales from 2 different books. I'm also going to discuss how my students made $6,000 in their pre-sales and had a lot of other different items to be celebrated as well. We're going to focus on lessons learned and takeaways, so that way you can avoid the mistakes that I made during my pre-sales, so you don't have to worry about those. And like I said earlier, I focus on efficient and effective marketing strategies. And so these are ones that are going to be focused on helping you make money with your books. Now, if these sound great to you, drop a heart in the comments or like or add whatever emoji of choice so I can know that you are in the right house and this is the right audience for this message. And lastly, so I am a believer, and I say that not to run you off, but I say that to say that sometimes I do get downloads from the Holy Spirit, and so if I'm told to say something, then I'm going to say it, and it might come off as a little saucy. Sorry, my phone dropped. It might come off as a little saucy, but I say it in love, and it's something that is a message for you because there's a reason why you're here. All right. As long as y'all are okay with that, can I get an amen in the chat? And I'm not going to get super religious if you're someone who's not religious, so don't worry. But if that's okay with you, drop an amen in the chat so I know that we're good to go. All right. Okay. Now, we're going to do a pulse check. And I have Janine from Abbott Elementary. I said I have an education background, so you'll see that throughout. And okay, thank you so much, Jamil, for that, and Brittany for responding in the chat. So let me know. From a scale of 1 to 3, where do you fall? Are you somebody who knows nothing about pre-sales? You're overwhelmed already. You're already confused and not sure what is happening. Or a 2, you know that you could do a pre-sale and you know that it's beneficial, but you're just not sure how to get started. So that would be a 2. And then drop a 3 if you've done a pre-sale before, but now you're looking to optimize. You're looking to get even better with that. Okay, so we got some, all right, Sweetie said amen, gave a 1. We have some 1s and 2s. Let me scroll. Okay, a couple 2s. Okay, 3, Shayna's a 3. Jamil's a 1. And if I'm saying anybody's name wrong, please correct me. I was very big on that with my students, is make sure you correct somebody every time when they say your name wrong. So let me know if you need to phonetically spell it out for me. All right, so we got a good mix here. Okay, perfect. All right, so here we have some of my star students, some of their success stories, and some of these folks are in the group, and if you're in other groups with me, then you might have seen them as well. And so we'll talk about how they were able to get some success for pre-sales with their books. So we have Dr. Tashawn Creswell, Shemaine Perry Knights, Ronnie B. Jackson Jr., D.M. Whitaker, and then Erica Basora. Okay, so going back to that teacher background, so if you need something to write down, get some notes, get something real quick, because you will be taking a lot of notes. Get your phone handy, because you will need to take some screenshots on whatever device you're on, so that way you can keep up. So before we get started, these are things that are going to help you out to make sure that you understand what we're talking about. So first, pre-sale. This is the act of selling something before it's done or before it's out. So you have not completed the item and you're going to sell it to people. Okay. Then launch. So this is a word that you've probably heard before, and I kind of cringe because people don't always use it correctly, but we'll talk about what the difference is and what that means for that. And so that's the act of doing a series of steps to show a process or a series of letting people know about your product or service over time. Okay. Then release, that is where you have you might call it your book launch day. That might be the day it could be the day you have your launch party. It might not be. It's the day that your book becomes available. So if you just post your book on Amazon, that's a book release. That is not a book launch. That's a book release. Okay. All right, and then lastly is publishing. That's where you are pressing publish, either on Amazon, Ingram Spark is one that a lot of people use, or other sites like Lulu, things of that sort. Okay, so take a screenshot of this if you need it, and then we're going to keep it moving. All right, so now, quiz, pop quiz. It's okay if you get it wrong. If you're not sure, that's fine. Let's take a guess. We're practicing. What comes first? Your book launch, your pre-sale, or your release? Okay, which comes first? Your launch, your pre-sale, or your release? So you can add that to the chat. Okay, so Princess says launch, Amanda says launch, Tiffany Harris says launch. Okay, Brittany says launch. Okay, lots of votes for launch. Okay. Everybody's okay. Okay, we got some good students here. Y'all cannot be tricked. Okay. Well done. Yes, your launch is the first thing that comes because that is an extended period of time where you are warming up your audience. You are letting them know that, hey, I got something going on. Something's about to happen. And you are really making sure that they are a part of the process because we want to inform them and make it so that they are aware. We don't want to just pop up and say, hey, buy my book. That's not the way to get sales. Okay. And let me take one moment. There is one slide that I wanted to give y'all a free gift for, and it seems to be hiding for some reason. Let me make sure. Okay. I don't know why that didn't show. All right, let me try again. I'll go back just a little bit. Okay, thank you for your patience. There we go. Okay, so this is something I wanted to make sure that you all got. This is a free gift for attending the class. Let me move my face over so I'm not blocking that QR code for you. And because I know there are lots of burning questions that you might have about how long should my pre-sale be? When should I start on social media? When do I let people know they can buy? How long do I have to do all these different things? I made a little cheat sheet for you with some explanation so that way you can know exactly how long you should have your pre-sale, when to order your proof copies, how to kind of organize that. And so you can get your copy. Right here, you can use your phone's camera to scan the QR code, and I'll put the link in the chat as well for you. So that way you can have that. And so go ahead and grab yours. And I'll also share this throughout because I know there might be a lot going on for you. But so I figured because there's so much other stuff we're going to talk about, I didn't want it to take up so much time for us. And so I put everything in a place that you can keep and have with you. So that way, as you're going through the training, you're able to you're so welcome, Amanda. No problem. That way, as you're going through the training, it's more impactful for you to be able to have this. Okay. All right, let's keep it moving. And so 3, 2, 1, get that link in the chat for you. And make sure it's clickable. Okay, I'm gonna pin that in case anybody needs it. All right, let's keep going. So I don't know why that slide didn't come up. It was hiding. Okay, so you guys are smart A+ students. And so going back to which one comes first, the launch. And so very nice, well done. Your book launch is a set time period that is showing from where you started telling people, hey, I have a book that's coming out, to when your book is not just out, but even beyond that part where you're promoting. And for some people, they have a 2-year book launch. Some of these folks that are getting signed to the larger companies, they would do a longer launch, a long game launch. If you don't already have an audience, you probably would also have a longer launch from like a 6-month to a 1-year time period. So that way people are able to get to know you, learn about the book, and become one of your raving fans. Okay. So you have your introduced time period when you give weekly updates, to at least weekly updates to your followers or to your subscribers. And then you are going to offer pre-sale, because that's what we're here to do, get paid to publish. And then you'll publish, and then your book will be available to other folks for regular sale. Okay, y'all did good on that one. All right, so why should you have a pre-sale? Pre-sales are a great way to test out an idea to see if people really want this. There's actually groups where people will not even make the product or make the item, and they'll sell it ahead of time to see if it's something that people actually want. And so that way you're not wasting time and energy creating something that no one's going to buy. It helps you to keep your deadlines and accountability. If you're somebody who does really well with short deadlines and timelines, then that is going to be something for you where it'll be helpful that you can keep that, because you're only focusing on those things. If you are wanting to determine the demand, seeing how many people are going to buy this thing when it comes out, a pre-sale is a great idea for that as well. You don't have to have it all figured out in order to start making money. You don't have to have everything together. And I know you're like, I don't want to not have it together, but I'll let you know how much to have it together, if that makes sense. It helps you to get paid faster because you are able to get paid before that 60-day timeline that Amazon shares. And then you can use that money immediately to pay off things for your book publishing process, your book marketing, or even to purchase inventory as well. And then it will help you to avoid overbuying copies of your books or your merchandise, because you'll know exactly how many copies you need. And that way your money's not tied up in books sitting in your garage or sitting in your apartment or something like that. Next, let's talk about reasons not to have a pre-sale. So if you are somebody who is not good with deadlines, we want to be honorable. We want to be folks that are integrous. And so if you're not good with deadlines, you do not need to have a pre-sale, because people are going to be waiting for you to be able to get their book out. So to get their book in their hand. So if we are wanting to make sure that they have that, we can't be all willy nilly with deadlines. We got to be tight with our deadlines. If you're not going to keep in touch with your audience, if you're someone who is scared of email marketing, if you're scared to post on social media, this is not a good thing for you to be able to do a pre-sale, because you have to talk to your people. You have to let them know, hey, this is the update. Hey, your book has shipped, things like that. And if you're an introvert, I don't want you to think that that just automatically excludes you. It just means that you might have to schedule those things, or you might have to really think through what you might say on a live video versus some kind of recorded, or maybe you do recorded ones instead. And so there's ways to work around that. Another reason that you might not want to have a pre-sale is you don't want to make money before your book comes out. I don't know who that is, but I put it on there because there might be somebody who that applies to. I don't know who that is, but maybe that's you. You don't have time to package books or book bundles, and we'll talk about what book bundles mean. Now, for that, I would say consider having like a packing party, getting some friends over. If you're a wine drinker, getting the girls over, having them pack for you, have them pack with you. If you have teenagers or kids, have them help you, a significant other, or somebody. So if that's a hurdle for you, I wouldn't let that stop you from doing a pre-sale. And then lastly, if your book is already out. Now, if your book's already out, that's fine. You can do bundling, which we'll talk about. And you can also use this strategy for your next book. Okay, so next we're going to talk about Amazon versus your website versus Kickstarter. Now, Kickstarter is a platform that a lot of people tend to use for their pre-sales, especially children's book authors. And so I did want to address it, even if it's not a strategy that I think is the best option for you. Okay, so just kind of an overview. Amazon through KDP, that's the way that most self-published authors end up publishing their book. You can actually do a pre-sale through Ingram Spark, which will feed into KDP, which will feed into Amazon, and I'll explain what that means. And there's a feature called the future publishing date, and so it will create a pre-sale for you where you upload it to Ingram Spark, it shows up on Amazon, and then people can buy it as a pre-sale. Another option is your website, and that's the method that I'm going to focus on the most tonight because to me it's the most efficient and effective method for most authors. And then, of course, Kickstarter. It's a crowdfunding site, which means that people are able to fund your project. They're able to give you money to be able to publish your book. And we'll talk about the pros and cons of each of these. Okay, so here we have the pros by platform. And so if we're looking at Amazon, creating your pre-sale on Amazon. To do that, what will happen is it will auto-deliver your ebook. Meaning if you can do a pre-sale on Amazon for your ebook. Currently, you cannot do a pre-sale on Amazon directly for your paperback or hardcover directly on Amazon KDP. They're working on that. It's actually in beta testing right now, so eventually it will be available. But right now it's not available directly on KDP for a physical copy of your book. You can do it for ebook, no problem. That's able to set it up. So if you want your pre-sale to appear on Amazon, you would have to do the strategy that I mentioned earlier. You would upload it to Ingram Spark. Ingram Spark will send it to Amazon, and you would use a future date. So that way it would show up on Amazon as a pre-sale. Okay. So some of the benefits of that is that Amazon already has traffic coming to it. People will already be able to find you through your keywords and categories. If those are popping and you did them correctly, people will be able to find you. It will also ship the book when it's released. So meaning, let's say you said your book is going to be available 2 weeks from now. It will start the process of sending out those orders to people once that date shows up. You're also able to do verified purchase reviews. I know that's important to a lot of folks to have a verified purchaser on the review section. And so if someone purchases it that way, you'll be able to have that next to their name. Okay. Oh, and feel free to drop questions in the chat. I'm going to do Q&A at the end, but if you have something that is directly related to whatever we're talking about, I will definitely answer that. And you're welcome. Glad you guys got your download, and I'll put that back up for anybody that joined late. Now, Kickstarter. So some of the pros of Kickstarter, you can include additional items with your book. So if you want to do a book bundle, which means packaging items with it, if you want to sign the copies of the book, you can do that on Kickstarter. You cannot do that directly on Amazon KDP. There are tiered options. So if you just wanted to do the book, you could do that. If you want to do the book and a bundle, you could do that. Autographing those copies as well, like I mentioned. You're also able to collect customer data. And I know that sounds kind of creepy, but not like in the sense of you're being creepy, but like an email address, a mailing address, and their name. So that way, if you need to send them a thank you card, you have their mailing address, so you can send it to them. With Amazon KDP, they do not share that information with you, so you have no idea who purchased your book. But with Kickstarter, you would be able to do that. Kickstarter already has traffic coming to it, and by traffic, I mean it already has people that are visiting the website to be able to donate to the to your cause or to your campaign. And people are also used to doing pre-sales on Kickstarter. They're familiar with it. It's something that it's not a big deal to them. They just know, like, okay, well, this is Kickstarter. I'm on here to give people my money, and so it's a common thing that they just understand. Now, if you're doing pre-sales on your website, this is something where some of those same features are available that we have on Kickstarter as your website. So being able to add extra items, that's the same on your website. Tiered options, you could do just the book. You could do the book in a bundle. You could do the book and something else. Autographing those copies, you can do that from your website as well. Getting that customer data. And then these two benefits that are pros to me, I put them in purple because they supersede all of the other pros, in my opinion. You can make money before your book is completed. With these other two, you can't. And I'll explain why. Also, you can make money even if one person purchases your book. That's not an option with Kickstarter. It is an option with Amazon, but you make more if you're doing it on your website. Okay, so let's talk about the cons. And then as I'm going over this, I want you to think about which one you want to try for your pre-sale. Okay, so these are the negatives, the downsides to each of these platforms. For Amazon, you are it's not directly able to publish your pre-sale on Amazon. And we talked about that workaround of Ingram Spark. You'd have to publish it through Ingram. It'll send to KDP, and you won't be able to track anything that way. You'll be able to track it in Ingram. And so it is an upcoming option on KDP, but right now it's not available to everybody. For this, you also have to have all of your book completed. So any changes that you need to make, they have to be done within a month of the book's release. And so I know most times as first-time authors, you're not done that far in advance with everything. There might be something you need to adjust or something you need to fix. And if you've ever used Ingram Spark, you know that the platform is not as user-friendly as KDP. It's not something that's just easily able to make fixes and adjustments to. So having that ahead of time is also something that can be a little cumbersome for folks. Okay. It does not increase your Amazon sales ranking for paperbacks on there. So I know that's a huge deal for some folks. They want to have that. And it's also easy to make mistakes on Ingram Spark, and the support on there is not always readily available. They've recently changed their features to have it where you can't get direct phone support. You have to, unless you pay for it, you have to send messages to them. And I know that in some of the author groups, it's just a little harder to get in touch with them. So if you're trying to do a pre-sale, which is something you might not have done before, this can be a little tricky for you. All right, next, Kickstarter. Some of the cons of Kickstarter. You're responsible for shipping the books yourself, and it doesn't increase your Amazon sales ranking. People can retract their pledges. So on Kickstarter, people will say, "Hey, I want to sponsor. I want to add one book, or I want to purchase one book bundle for $20 or whatever the cost is." They can actually take back their pledges. And Kickstarter also takes 5% of the money that you raise for your Kickstarter. And because it's a site where people go to do pre-sales, there's a lot of competition. You're not the only one on there that's doing pre-sales. And so that can be a little tricky, and you have to make sure you're really committed to trying to stand out on the platform. This one is one of probably the biggest con. I'm probably not ever going to do a Kickstarter because of this. And no shade if you've done Kickstarter, but this one to me is just really heart-wrenching. If you don't make your goal, so let's say your goal is $5,000. If you don't make the $5,000, you don't get any of your money. So everybody's pledges go back to them. Now, I don't know if you already knew that before or if you've thought about that, and that might not be why you're doing Kickstarter. But to me, that's just so heartbreaking because you've done all this work, you're doing all this promotion, and then at the end, if you don't reach the goal, then it's just a wash. It also has to be approved by Kickstarter for you to be able to place it on the platform. Okay. Now, lastly, for your website, these are some of the cons for using your website for a pre-sale. You're responsible for shipping, just like on Kickstarter. It doesn't directly increase your Amazon sales ranking, but we'll talk about some workarounds. And then it may take longer to set up than Amazon or a Kickstarter because you're having to do a website. But I do have some options that are a little bit faster and not as, that won't take as much time for you to set up. So let me know in the chat, which option are you kind of leaning towards? Amazon, Kickstarter, or your website? And if you're not sure, you can say not sure. That's fine too. I'm going to get some water while y'all add that. So which option are you thinking of? And while you're doing that, there we go. There's a little bit of a delay. Okay, website, Amazon, not sure. That's okay if you are not sure. All right, so if you are not sure, if you're saying any other place in your website, I'm gonna try to convince you that your website is the best option. Okay, so right here we have our first client spotlight, Charmaine Perry Knights. I'm gonna move my face over. And she is the owner of Amazingly Published. She has an author agency as well. And she focuses really heavily on pitching and podcasting to be able to sell books. So I worked with her, and during her pre-sale, she was able to get $500 in pre-sale orders, and that included $300 on her website through her book bundles, and then an additional $200 on Amazon, plus Ingram Spark for her book sales. Okay. Brittany said Amazon and her website, and she'll funnel orders from the website. Okay, nice. Yes, and you can do a combination of those options. That's a good point. You don't have to just do one or the other. I actually do a combo depending upon what time of the launch it is. Okay. All right, Erica said she's not sure. Princess said she's going to do hers on her website. Tiffany said website. Ashley said she's not sure. Alexandria said website. Okay. All right, let's keep going. So she was able to sell 127 books on Amazon and Ingram Spark shortly after her pre-order finished. And she attributes a lot of that to the promotion that was happening for her pre-sale. Since folks who weren't able to get that pre-sale, they were like, oh, I still need to get that book. And so she was able to direct them to those sites. And her strategies were podcasting, social media posting on Facebook groups for her ideal audience. And her books are generally about military families, but also about social emotional learning and things of that sort. So shout out to Charmaine. Congrats on your pre-sale success. Okay, so if you didn't get the free item earlier, my pre-sale timeline cheat sheet, go ahead and scan that QR code now so that you can get it. And I'll leave it up while I'm talking. So once again, thinking about when to start your pre-sale, how long should it be, how long should your launch be, things of that sort. In that timeline cheat sheet that's available at that link, and I'll get the website link and put that in the chat for you as well. It really depends. And the one that I gave you in the timeline is a guide. It's not something that's 100% always going to be the same for every single book. However, I picked an estimate that was going to be good for most authors so that you are able to feel comfortable, to have enough time to do your pre-sale to get the success that you want to see. And so those are things that are answered there. But really, the time for your pre-sale really depends on how long has your launch been. Did you just start your launch last week? You probably shouldn't open your pre-sale right now because people don't even know what you're launching, what you're releasing. Have you ordered proof copies yet? If you're somebody who likes to order a proof before you actually order author copies, then you might want to hold off on yours. That's not a strategy I use, but that's something that people do. Are you going to need edits done? Is yours an 80,000 word novel? I have a client who just finished her launches today and her releases today, and her book's 80,000 words. So for her, we had to be very careful about when we were doing what we're doing for her book. What's your audience size? Are you using your book to build your audience? These are things you have to really consider and think through if you want to have a successful pre-sale, because they really dictate what everything else kind of follows after that. What platforms are you going to use? Are you doing social media? Are you doing email marketing? Are you doing text message marketing? Are you doing local community groups? Are you doing an early access option for certain subscribers? Are they getting access to things before other people? And also considering, is your goal realistic for your audience? Okay. And your pre-sale could be 1 to 2 weeks. It could be a year. There's some authors who use a whole year to do their pre-sale. I personally don't do that because I think it's kind of exhausting. And for me, I'm a wife, a mom, and it's just too much for me. But there's people that do it and they have success with it. So it really depends on a lot of those factors. And so go ahead and get your cheat sheet if you haven't already and download that. And I'll have this link again if you missed it. But all right, so for my first pre-sale, so go ahead and get your pen and paper, get your notes ready, get your screenshot, trigger figure ready, if that's what you were doing. For my pre-sale, this is the first one. This was my first book. And my first book is called New Mom Thoughts, Real Questions for Moms with Real Feelings. And for this book, I wrote it when I had a 6-month-old. He's now almost 4, and so back in 2020. And I started at 6 months and it came out when he was 9 months old. At that point, I had a new job. It was the height of the pandemic. I was working from home with a baby, and there was a lot of craziness going on. And I say all that to say that if I can do it during that time, you can definitely get your book done and you can definitely do your pre-sale. For this pre-sale, it was 6 weeks long. I announced it on social media, and I just did a very simple live video of me sitting in my son's room, and the video ended up being like 10 or 12 minutes, not because I wanted it to be that long, but it was just me telling why I wrote the book, what the book was about, when I thought it was going to come out, and then let folks know that, hey, pre-sales are going to be opening at some point if you're interested. So if you have not done something like that for your book and you're about to try to start a pre-sale, I would heavily encourage you to go ahead and start and do your video. It could be pre-recorded. However, live video gets better traction on social media, and do those same 3 things. Why you wrote the book, when you think it's coming out. You could say spring, summer, whatever the season is. You don't have to say the month if you're not ready. And then when you think pre-sales are going to open. Okay? Promise you'll see results with that. And so for this, I offered a $27 bundle, which I'll show you what was inside of that. And for that time period, those 6 weeks, I was able to make $1,400 during that 6-week time period, selling 53 book bundles. Okay. And once again, like I said, if you have questions, drop them in the chat and I'll answer them throughout. And so here we have an example of one of the social media posts that I did for that to help my pre-sale get popping. And so inside of it, it included the book, an autographed copy of the book. It included stickers because this was a keepsake journal, stationery, so just a little thank you card for them, decorative washi tape, which is like a cute, like colorful tape. And then for my other business, because this came out before I had Shep Publishing House, I also included a new mommy cooking class because I knew this book was going to be for new moms who didn't have a ton of time to cook and they needed things that were simple and easy to do. And so I gave them access to that cooking class. Okay. And so in order to do this, I created an email interest list, meaning that I got people on the list who were interested in my book before it came out. So my live video, in the description, I said, hey, if you want to join the interest list, go ahead and click this link. And that led to a page where people could sign up to get updates about the book. Oh, also, I included a digital copy of the book, and that essentially was just a PDF. For me, for my books, that worked because I have planners. And so if people wanted to print them out before they got their pre-sale, that's a good way to kind of buy you some time. If your book is not a planner, you can still do that in a similar form. And then that way people can read it ahead of time while they're waiting for their physical copy. And you might be thinking, what do you mean? Give them my book for like just another copy of my book? Yes. Giving away your book is an excellent strategy that a lot of authors use to actually make more sales. And it sounds odd. It sounds counterintuitive, but people love free stuff. And at that point, they've already paid for your book anyway. So giving them an extra version of it is really not that bad. Okay, so and then, so like I said, it's a guided journal. And what I also did, because it's a guided journal, I did social media posts once a week with one question from the book a week. So in this case, this was one of the questions that I posted on social media with this graphic. And this is similar to the design of the book. I have 2 covers for it. So this was the colorful coral version. And this one says, what's the most rewarding part about being a mommy? Now I picked questions that were going to evoke conversation. We're going to increase engagement and to get people talking. If your book is not a journal or not a guided journal, you can pick quotes from your book instead. And just like you see those social media graphics with quotes from like famous people, you're going to be the famous person in this case. So pick quotes from your book. You can pick 10 quotes, you can pick 12 quotes, and then each week release a quote from your book and ask some kind of question to get people in the conversation. Then I also let people know what was included in the bundle. And sorry, y'all, I cut it off. My bad. But I let them know what was included in the bundle. And then I told them, okay, you can go ahead and get a copy here. And if you want to know when it's on Amazon, then you can go ahead and get on the interest list here. Okay. All right. So Jamel said, these strategies are very intentional. Never would have thought about these things. Yes. Thank you. Love that you are getting some gems. Yes. Yes. That's the thing. We want to be efficient and effective because we don't have time to waste when it comes to selling our books. And just for context, I have a 4-month-old and an almost 4-year-old. And so if I can do it, y'all, you can do these things too. And we want to make sure that we are not wasting our posting. We only have a certain amount of time to get our audience's attention, especially with how the algorithm and doing whatever it wants to do. And people are even more distracted than they were before. And so we want to be very precise and strategic about what we're doing. All right, Tiffany says, I wish I would have known about you when I published my guided motherhood journal in 2021. This would have helped tremendously. Aw. Well, actually, Tiffany, you can always do a relaunch or re-release. You can redo your cover, add a bundle on it, and tie it to a holiday or like Mother's Day or tie it to a mommy day. And then, boom, you can use these strategies as well. But yes, we should connect for mommy journal things. Okay, So let's go ahead and keep it moving. So I posted once or twice a week. And like I said, I use the question of the week. Okay, next pre-sale. Okay, sorry, y'all, my slides. I feel like there's a slide gremlin who has come in and deleted stuff because I know I had another one there. But I'll look. Okay, we'll move on. So for my next pre-sale, this was for my Daniel Fast 21-day food and faith journal. And yeah, I do have another slide. Let me take a step back. Canva is not my friend right now. Let me go back. Ooh. One moment. And then also my mouse is not cooperating. Okay, hold on, y'all. Promise, I'm gonna get it together. Okay, let's go back one. Okay, there we go. All right, so actually no, that's not it either. Sorry, y'all. I don't want y'all to get these nuggets. I don't want you to miss stuff. Okay, never mind. We'll keep going. All right, so my next one was for the Daniel Fast Food and Faith Journal, and that's my second book. And that one to date has sold a little over 3,000 copies. Let me bring my slides back up. Okay, so this was pre-sale number 2, and this was in December 2020. And for this one, I did a birthday book launch for it, and which is a great idea if you have a birthday coming up. People love coming to birthday parties for book launches. It was virtual because it was the height of COVID. And thank you, Amanda. The congrats on the 3K copies. Thank you. And so this pre-sale was just 1 to 2 weeks because for the Daniel Fast, people generally do it in January. And if you're not familiar with it, it is a 21-day, essentially a vegan diet with no sugar or no added sugar. And you also are increasing your prayer time to get closer to God. And so I know that sounds really restrictive, but basically you can have fruits, vegetables, whole grains, seeds, nuts, things like that. So I know you're probably thinking that's still not helpful, but anyway. So that's neither here nor there. So for the Daniel Fast, because people want to do it in January, it's something that's done all across the world. People needed to have their copy of the book by January. And so that was kind of a marketing tactic I could use of, hey, all right, y'all, if you want your book and you want to make sure that you get it in time for your fast, then you need to go ahead and order. This pre-sale was only a week long. I accidentally forgot to turn the pre-sale off, so I let folks who ordered after still order. And so I put 1 to 2 weeks. It was 10 days. And I did 2 options this time. So I did just the book and a book bundle. So the book, I listed it for $11.99, and the bundle was $47. And I'll talk about what was included in the bundle. Now for this one, I was able to do $800 in 2 weeks, so $800 in 10 days. And if you think back to the other one, $1,400 in 6 weeks versus $800 in less than 2 weeks, this one actually made more money because of the shorter time frame, and there was a higher sense of urgency for folks to order. Okay, and this one was 12 bundles and then 21 books that were sold for the pre-sale part. Now, strategies I use for this one, similar to the other one. That's the beauty of pre-sales. Once you are able to do the pre-sale once, you can actually rinse and repeat the same strategies. You can do it the same thing over again, but with a different book. And so I used the email interest list, had my announcement video, let people know, hey, I am releasing another book. They were able to get a digital copy of the book ahead of time. And because I wanted to make sure they got something, I did the digital copy so that way if they needed to print it out for their Daniel Fast, they would have it. I tapped into the previous audience loosely because it wasn't the same demographic. So for this, the book started as a 3-week email challenge that I did. So I did a Daniel Fast challenge. And then during the challenge, people said, hey, well, this should be a book. And so then I turned it into a book. So I did have an existing audience for this, which also helped. Same strategy, posted once or twice a week on social media, posting things like updates. posting things like, hey, got my author copies, my editor got that back, things of that sort. And released it on my birthday and ordered it in time for people ordered it in time for the fast. Okay, Amanda said, was the pre-sale a discount for customers? No, it was not a discount. It was early access because the book was not available on Amazon just yet at that point once I had opened up those pre-sales. And so it was also the only way people could get an autographed copy. Not sure if y'all know, but if someone orders your book on Amazon, you are never going to see it. It's going to go directly towards them. So you cannot autograph that copy of the book. And so that was a way for me to include something extra that's high value for them, but that didn't actually cost me any extra money to be able to add that in. Good question. And so takeaways from these pre-sales, both of them covered my publishing costs, including hiring contractors for designs. So I'm also going to talk about my stats from Amazon from this. So that way you can see, because some people think, oh, well, if I do a pre-sale, then I'm not going to be able to get the benefits of having it on Amazon. But you actually will, because they're going to boost your sales that way too. All right, another question. Stephanie said, how does pre-sales work if you plan to sell using Amazon KDP? So if you were here at the beginning, Stephanie, let me know, and I can talk about that briefly. Do you mean how would you do the pre-sale on KDP, or do you mean how would you do the pre-sale and still use KDP to print your books? Let me know which one you want me to go over, and I'd be happy to do that. Okay, so, one other thing to note. With the Daniel Fast one, the book bundle, I didn't include anything that I had to mail to people. It was all digital products. So I was able to spend less money and actually save more of the money. With the mom book, I had to mail physical items to them, which meant my shipping was higher. I had to purchase the items. With the Daniel Fast book bundle, everything was digital. So I was able to send it to them immediately. They were able to get access immediately, and I was able to keep all of that money aside from purchasing the copies of the book. So something to consider when you're doing your pre-sales is to do digital items with your book. And we'll talk about examples of that, but there are examples in your pre-sale timeline cheat sheet if you need those as well. Okay. All right, so strategy number 1, let's talk about how did this happen? How was I able to do this, and how are my customers able to do this as well? So first strategy, having a book launch. Y'all sound like some launch experts, so I'm excited because y'all knew the answer to the question earlier of having a launch first. And so launching versus releasing, we talked about earlier. Launching is that Launching is that process of where you are letting people know that you're releasing a book. Your releasing is just the day that your book becomes available. We want to be book launchers, not just book releasers. Doing that intro video for your book that I talked about earlier is going to be key. It doesn't take a lot of setup, doesn't take a lot of requirements. Have some good lighting, have a few points you know you're going to say, and release that video. It does not have to be fancy. Okay, I'll post my videos in the group later so y'all can see that it does not have to be fancy at all. And so, like I said, the first one was a 6-week launch. That is a pretty short time frame. It was during the summer, and at that point I was a teacher in the classroom, and so I had a little bit more wiggle room with my time. Generally, it's recommended to at least do a 3 to 6 month launch period. If you really can do one and take your time, a year is actually even better. But if you don't have that kind of time, that's fine. So start as soon as you know that your book is coming out. Do your video then. Say the book's coming out next year, next fall. Boom. Okay. All right. Stephanie said, "How do you do a pre-sale if you plan to? How do you? Okay. So how do you do a pre-sale if you plan to use KDP for printing? I did miss the first part. Okay. So we'll talk about that in one of the next sections. Good question. And if I forget, please tell me, because Stephanie, I got a 4-month-old, so and a 4-year-old. So, okay. Announce as soon as you know and that you're writing your book. Okay. Also, using ARC or beta readers, at least 20. Those are people who are going to read your book in advance. And I had those for both of the books. For the mom book, I had them because I reached out to, you're welcome. I reached out to people who were new moms. And I said, hey, I'm writing a guided journal. Can you look at these questions? I sent them my Google Doc with my questions, and they gave me feedback on how to adjust those questions. Those same people became my first reviewers on Amazon because they were excited that I was writing a book. They were excited that I included them in the process, and they felt like a part of it. So once the book came out, it was a no-brainer. They're like, oh, I need to get one for me. I need to get one for my friends. And these are people whose kids are like 2 and 3 years old. It wasn't people who were like newly pregnant. So it doesn't have to be that it didn't have to be where it was the exact people that are your audience are the ones buying your book in that case. And we'll talk about how kind of navigate that. So find 20 people who are in the group of people who would be interested in your book or who have recently come out of that stage, if that makes sense. So if you were writing a book about college students, then maybe you might want to reach out to parents of people whose kids just graduated from college because it's going to be fresh for them. It's not going to be so far along. You're not going to ask somebody who, like, I've been out of college for God knows how long, for however long. And so asking me is probably not the best option because I haven't been in college in a while. Okay. Hey, author Christy, thanks for joining us. So, and we're going to talk about book launch strategies at a glance. So we're going over that now. Collaborating with small businesses, podcasts, speaking opportunities, doing those with small businesses and organizations, reaching out to these different organizations. So for my mom book, I reached out to doulas. I reached out to prenatal specialists. I reached out to doctor's offices, places I was already going because I had my son. And so asking them, hey, would you be open to promoting the book? Pelvic floor specialists, people who are associated with your book's topic. If your book is about construction, reaching out to the different construction companies or whatever, people that are local to your area and people maybe you follow on social media. They're going to be the ones that can help you to reach your right audience because they already have your audience that are following them. Okay. All right. Christy says she loves these ideas. Wonderful. Jamil says great ideas as well. For the Daniel Fast book, I actually speak with churches. So I'll do virtual visits. I haven't actually done any in-person visits because it's been since COVID has started. But I do all virtual visits with churches. I do cooking demos with them. I have a church that's ordering 200 copies of the book, and then I'm going to do a cooking demo with them. So find ways to extend the experience for your book so that your reader is excited to read it and excited to finish it. Because most people do not finish the books that they read, sadly. All right, here we have an example of another way to get your audience involved. This was a slide I was looking for earlier, y'all. My bad. I added it today, and so I forgot where I put it. So get a screenshot of this. This is key for you. Ways to get your audience involved. I always hear from authors, I don't know what to post. What am I going to post? What am I going to email? What am I going to say to my people? These are some things you can say. On the right side, you have an example of me getting cover feedback from a Facebook group of other authors. Now, one tweak there, I would say get this feedback from people who are your ideal future reader, okay? Because it's going to be more on point. It's going to be more tailored. However, at that time, this is my first book. I didn't know that. So if you can't find your ideal reader, do it in an author group. Do it on your main page on your Facebook profile. So I have 2 different covers for my mom book, and I was trying to get the color right for the sling. And so notice on this had 117 comments on it. So if I was doing this on a public page or I was doing this on my business page, this is getting engagement and traction for my audience to see something is going on. It's also making them feel involved in the process. Okay. All right. Christy said she just did this. Yes. Let us know how it went. So get a screenshot of this. So things you can post, things you can send out in an email. Letting them choose your cover, letting them help you with your title or subtitle. This is more so helpful if you have an idea already and they're picking or voting. Doing a question of the week, like we talked about, a quote of the week. Talking about the publishing process, letting them know, y'all, this editor is kicking my butt. This is my 3rd edit I got back, and I'm not having a good day with it. Being vulnerable with your audience is key because they will you'll be more endearing to them and you'll seem like a regular person. And they'll like that. Setbacks that you have. I'm going to talk about a setback with Amazon, how they lost my books. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Proofs. Showing your proof copies. Doing an unboxing video. Those are huge because people, I'm not going to say they're nosy, but they like to see what's going on. They want to see what the deal is. Inspiration behind your book. Why did you write the book? Okay, Christy said she tried this strategy with her cover and she got 50 comments. Y'all, that's amazing. And this is free marketing, free advertising. That's going to pay off later as well. Here's another example. So this was my book launch party flyer for my Daniel Fast book. And this was letting people know that, hey, the book's out. Come join my launch party. Make sure you RSVP. And other things you can do during your book launch. So posting on social media, of course, and you can schedule these things out. You don't have to be behind the computer doing this all the time. Tools like Canva, they can schedule them out. Facebook has Meta Business Suite. If you have a Facebook business page, you can use that. If you've switched to professional mode on your Facebook, then you can also schedule as well. Creating an email interest list. Those are the people who said, hey, I want to be a part of this. And you can go from zero. So for both of mine, I didn't already have an email list that was just for the books. So if you're thinking, video froze, testing. Let's see, can you hear me now? Did it freeze for anybody else? Give me a heart if you can hear me. I don't want y'all to miss this. And there's a bit of a delay. Let me check. Okay, it's back. Okay, thank you. So for this, these are strategies you can do for your book launch. Don't feel like because I don't have an email list that I can't use email as a strategy. I have another class on that I can show you. It's in the group and the guides. You can start from zero and still be able to get money and get people on your pre-sale list. Using your book launch timeline is key, so that way you have a strategic set of steps, and I have links for that too. And I also have a masterclass that teaches strictly about your book launch process, so if anybody's interested in that, I can add the link for that. It goes into more depth. Getting your friends and family on board in the right way, getting them on your street team so that they are advertising for you in a way that actually gets sales. A lot of times people don't utilize their friends and family in a way that is effective. And they complain like, oh, my friends didn't buy my book. My family didn't buy my book. Your friends and family might not be your ideal reader. They might not want to get a copy of your book because they're not going to read it. Or they might have other stuff to pay for or whatever. It's not your friends and family's responsibility to buy your book. I'm going to say that again. It's not your friends and family's responsibility to buy your book. However, your friends and family are more likely to share your book with certain people. For example, the mom book. One of my things I stated was, hey, if you're not a new mom, tag a new mom who you know. Tag somebody who's pregnant who might need a copy of this book. Consider purchasing this book for a baby shower gift for the mom because moms get left out. So finding ways to still introduce your book to your friends and family to get them on board is key. Using a book launch timeline. Oh, got that on there twice because you need it twice. Sorry. All right. Tiffany said, if you can't say amen, say ouch. Yes, ma'am. Exactly right. All right. We have another client spotlight to Sean Creswell. She is here in Georgia with me. And she signed on for book publishing, coaching, and marketing. And so in her pre-sales, she had a book launch party. And so this is her party with her son, with her copy of her book, her children's book, Just Tori. And I say children's book like older children, but like middle school, upper elementary, middle school. And this is at her launch party. She was able to get 70 launch party attendees who paid ahead of time, and their party ticket included the copy of the book that she signed, as well as an admittance to the party. And then she also sold books on her website. So just the book, people who couldn't come to the party, they still wanted to buy a book. And she did almost $3,000 in pre-sales. Amazing, amazing. First time author. Okay. The strategies she used. She went live to talk about the book. So she did her announcement video. She did her unboxing video. And she promoted on social media. So she posted images with her book as well. She shared with family and friends, and they were very supportive in sharing it as well. And then she followed up with local promo opportunities. And so she formed partnerships with local places. She's been to the Boys and Girls Club, and they purchased books for the local locations that are in the Augusta areas where she's in Grovetown, Georgia. And then also she's been on the news. She was on the local news talking about her book and the impact that it's had in her life. So proud of her. All right. Yes, you got some love in the chat to Shawn if you watch this on the replay. She's in the group as well. So social media marketing. Now, this is a strategy that kind of seems like an obvious choice for some folks. Other people are kind of taken aback. They're like, oh, I don't want to do social media. I don't like social media. I get it. It can be overwhelming. However, I'm going to explain to you why you at least need to do it in some capacity. Number one, it's free. It is free. Free. Until, if you're not using Twitter, because Elon's talking about charging, or X, whatever it's called now. which I don't recommend Twitter for one of the strategies, but for one of the social media platforms. It is free. Free strategies can work if you're doing them the right way. You don't have to post every day to see results. Now, what that means is when you're posting, you want to post in a way that's going to capture people's attention, so that your 1 week post is going to be something that is popping, so people will come and look at it. It's a learnable skill. It's something where with a little help, a little guidance, you can learn how to be successful on social media. And likely you're already on it anyway. So you could be taking notes and seeing what other people are doing that are working. Oh, this person's getting a lot of likes on this comment. Let me kind of analyze what they're doing there. Or if you have it to where you have a business page or the professional page, you actually can get analytics from Facebook or Instagram to see, and even TikTok too, to see when are your people on, what kind of things are they liking, what kind of things are they not responding to. Okay. Also, if you are trying to make money with your book, you need an audience. You need people to buy your book. So you either have to borrow audience, which means you're going to partner or collaborate with other people, or you're going to build it yourself. That means you're going to try to get followers, subscribers yourself. That one takes the longest, but that is a strategy. Or you're going to buy it, meaning you're going to spend money on ads. And so you have to decide, are you going to spend time, energy, or money? You can spend a little bit of both or a little bit of all three, but you have to decide what's going to be your strategy. So maybe you say, okay, well, I want to outsource this. I want to hire somebody to help with that, but I want to learn how to do this with myself. Okay. So my strategy was I posted one time a week. I told stories to my book about my book's topic. So I tied stories to my book's topic. And then I posted more than just buy my book. We cannot keep posting buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. That that is not an effective strategy. You can post that, yes, but not all the time. That shouldn't be the majority of your posts. Okay. Other things on social media. You want to make sure that you are commenting, liking, or asking people to comment, like, or share. You also should be commenting, liking, and sharing other people's stuff too. Social media is for being social. If you want people, do unto others as you would want them to do to you. If you want people to support you, you got to support them. Also, not even just from like a kindness standpoint, but that also tells the algorithm that you're not a robot, that you're an actual, a real person who's behind your account, who is there, who is spending time being social. That feeds the algorithm and tells it, hey, okay, I need to make sure I send that person's stuff out because they're out here commenting on other people's stuff. Also, asking for help from your audience. So asking people to tag a friend. Let them know let you know if they want to advertise, but they're not going to buy the book. Making that street team. Thanking people. Please thank people when they help you. Thank them for sharing. Respond to their comments. Like their comments before, during, and after the process. Okay. All right. So here's some examples for my book cover. Once again, I asked an audience, hey, help me pick my cover. Let me know which one you like. 145 comments, y'all. And this is free. This is free traction. Like, all you have to do is post and people will talk to you. People like to be a part of things, and they're not nosy. They want to be informed. They want to be a part of the process. So posting on your personal page and your business page. So post in both places if you have to, and make the ones on your personal page, make those public. This was inside of our group, but make them public so that way when people tag folks, those people can see it because you're not friends with them, but they're friends with them. Using social media to grow your email list. So on most of my posts, if I wanted them to be used to say, hey, come over to, or join the interest list. So here's some stuff about the book. If you want to be informed about this, join my interest list. Because email actually has a higher, what's called a conversion rate, meaning the percentage of people that purchase. People are more likely to purchase from an email list than they are from social media. I'm going to say that again. People are more likely to purchase from emails than social media. People don't come on social media to buy things. And I know like TikTok just added shops. People, they're not necessarily going to social media to buy things. They might buy them if they're on there. But if you look at your inbox right now, you have companies in your inbox who email you every day to get you to buy something. Every day. I'm not saying you need to email these people every day. That's not what I'm saying. But people are wired to think, okay, my email is either going to be something informing me of something. My email is going to be important. It's going to be something, maybe I'll buy something. And so using your social media to grow your email list is a great strategy that connects as well. I didn't really use ads for my sales because I didn't have money. And so I said I have time, so I'm going to spend my time. I'm not going to spend my money. Now I do use ads a little more often. If you have the money for ads, wonderful, but be sure that you have somebody that knows what they're doing with your ads, because you can waste money very quickly with ads if you are not sure. All right. Selena said, amen. Yes, ma'am. Okay. And then Christy said, awesome sauce. So know what you're doing before you use them, like I said, with ads. All right. Let me know in the chat. Are you learning anything? Are you getting anything new from this? Give me something that you are learning as we move on to our next client spotlight. And so this is Ronnie B. Jackson Jr. This was his first book, and it's called Push Past Impact. And for him, he was able to do $1,000 in pre-sales on his first book. And his two options for his pre-sales were this. So the first one is people could just buy the book. He would autograph it, and he would also send a digital copy. The second option is he would do the book and the digital copy. And then he included a custom ballpoint pen that had the name of the book on it, because his book was a combo. It was a self-help book, so there were places for the person to write inside the book. And then he also we did a digital download for him of quotes to keep people motivated, because his book was to help guys who wanted to kind of move to their next and kind of level up, but they felt stuck. So they needed some affirmations. And then they got an invite to a book release event. Okay. All right. In the chat, let's see. Okay. So Jamil said, how did I gather their email addresses? So I use an email service provider, which there's a training in the group as well that goes deep into this, because it's not a process I can necessarily walk through today. But I'm an email service provider, and essentially I put that video that I announced my book on the page for the email service provider, and then had a form that will collect their emails. So it says, hey, here's the book announcement. If you want to be on the list, put your info here. So if you got the checklist that I sent earlier, that's from an email service provider. So what it does is it automatically sends out stuff to people in mass, because you're not going to want to send this through your regular Gmail or Yahoo or whatever, because you'll get blocked. So as a business owner, there's different things you can use, and they have free options. There's different things you can use to send things out to folks in mass. So if you go to the guides, there's a training on email marketing that you can check out as well that goes deeper into that. All right, Kimberly said this is amazing. Thank you, Kimberly. Glad you're able to join us. Erica said, yes, this is great info. Christy says she's learning. Thank you. All right, perfect. Okay, let's keep it moving. All right, so next, email marketing. So getting deeper into that. So this is something I've kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, that people purchase more from emails than social media. For every dollar that you invest in email marketing, you get back $37, which is amazing. And you can do email for free and still make money. At this point, I didn't pay for my email list. I didn't pay to manage my email list because they have free software. That's an option. It's one-on-one connection. So with social media, you're talking one-to-many. It's you posting, you're talking to an audience. With email, you're talking to that one person. So when I sent you all emails to come to this class, I said, hey Jamil, hey Erica, hey Kimberly. And I didn't sit there and type out all of your names. There are things inside of the email service providers that will pull that information, so that way it shows up that way to you. So it creates a more personalized experience without me having to type out all 100 of the people who were invited to the class, all 100 of the people's names. Okay. So I did weekly emails with one update per email. Now, okay, I'm going to say another thing that's going to step on some toes, and I probably need to do a post about this. Okay. So, coming real close. We are not sending newsletters. We're not sending email newsletters. That's not what we're doing. We are sending emails with one goal. Now, if you've done email before, or you are getting into it, you might hear people say, oh, I want to get people on my newsletter. People do not want to get on your newsletter. And I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm saying this to be real. People have a finite capacity for information. When you send an email, you want to get them to do one thing. You want them to, for example, maybe they need to vote on your cover. That's the one goal of the email. Maybe they need to purchase your book bundle. That's the one goal. Maybe they need to check out you being featured on a podcast. One thing. That's all we're wanting them to do. And the reason for that is Tiffany says she thought about doing a newsletter and this message is for her. Yes, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. The reason for that is because the more things you add to the email, the less likely they are to do the things. So you really only want to give them one thing to do. They're going to be more likely to do the one thing. All right. Sherma said, what is the cost of the email service provider? There are free options. You do not have to pay for email service provider. So, for example, MailerLite is one that I would recommend for new folks, and I can add that to, yes, be free for the newsletter. I can add that to the group. But once again, if you go to the guides in the group, there's an email marketing guide and a whole training. And so it walks you through what you need to do or what you can do. Okay. And it's why every author needs an email list. Christy said, no more newsletters. So if you have newsletters and you've been doing them, just break them up. So if you've said maybe 4 things in your newsletter, you got 4 weeks of emails. Boom. Okay. So things you can say inside your emails. You can do a book announcement video on an interest list page, which is what I was explaining earlier And then automated lead magnet. So the thing that you just got earlier, if you did the pre-sale checklist, the QR code that I had you scan, that was an automated system from an email service provider. That way, if you send me an email, I don't have to go back and say, oh, Sherma requested this. I got to go send it to her. Or Kimberly wants a copy of this. I got to go send it to her. It will send it automatically to you so that I can move on with my life and do other stuff. And you can get your thing and not have to wait on me. Because if you wait on me, I might forget because I have, talk about these kids. I got kids. So emailing them once a week is a good way to keep them updated and keep them posted. And you can talk about the same thing that you put on social media. Just go deeper. So the same screenshots, I put those in an email and said, hey, please vote on the cover. And I talked a little bit about it more to my email audience. Interest list page. So that is something where I just put the video for the book launch announcement or the book release announcement. So, hey, writing a book. If you want to find out more information about it, fill out the form below. And then on the form, it had their name and it had a place for them to put their name and their email address. And then once they press submit, it'll automatically add them to that list so I can email them once a week. Okay. I'm sharing things like setbacks, guest appearances. So if you're appearing on podcasts or in-person events, your launch party, asking them to leave a review. Templates for these are also available in my shop, and I'll add them in the guides as well. Okay, so for example, here's the setback. I told you about how Amazon lost my stuff. Amazon lost my books. So back in 2020, rewind in your mind. This is when shipping was bananas. We didn't know we were going to get our stuff. They were months and months behind at USPS, post office. Everybody was just like, I don't know when your stuff's going to get there. So at the height of the pandemic, when things are just going haywire, I said, let me do a pre-sale. And let me not just do one version of the book. Let me do 2 versions of the book. So the other version of the book that has the black background and the purple, the black and gold, that one arrived at my house. It was about 23, 24 copies of that. Got that one, no problem. I could do my bundles. This copy, Amazon said, we don't even know where your book is. We have no idea where these books are. I still don't know where they are. They never arrived. I have no idea where these books are. And you can request a refund. I don't want a refund, Amazon. I want my books because people have ordered these books. And so what I had to do, of course, I contacted them and they were great about it. They made it right. They expedited another set to me. And so I got it literally in less than 5 days, which is crazy during that time period and in general because your author copies don't usually ship that quickly, not for 20 books. And so what I had to do is I had to email those people and I had to say, hey, you ordered this copy, this colorful coral version is what I call this, and I don't have it because Amazon didn't give it to me. So you have a few options. You can either get a refund, you can let me ship yours separate. So I was doing a book bundle, so you can let me ship your bundled stuff or ship your book separate when I get it, or you can just wait. And nobody asked for a refund. Nobody asked me to ship their stuff separate. They said, I'll just wait. Because I had been consistently communicating with them through email and on social media. They knew that I had not run away with their money because they could trust me and they knew that that was something that things were happening outside. I was out doing outside crazy things. And so nobody asked for their refunds. And so I got it and I was able to ship their stuff. Okay. So we've talked about these already. Things that you can do for email marketing. as well. Tiffany said, oh my goodness. Yes, Tiffany, it was stressful, but praise Jesus that it all worked out. Okay, so there's a training in the group for that as well for email marketing. So I already told you the story. Amazon lost my books. It was August or September 2020. Surveyed my audience. Nobody asked for a refund because I had been emailing them through the launch process. All right. Jamel said she already knows she has to do better about being consistent. Yes, and so the consistency factor is key, but it's also because you might not have time to plan all those things out. So using things like templates are helpful, and I have some of those in my shop, so that way you can just adjust the template, so that way you're able to actually complete the email instead of having to worry about all the little nitpicky things. All right, street team, friends and family. Drop a 1 in the comments if you know you want to get your friends and family on board, but you want to make sure that they're doing it right. Now, we love our aunties and uncles on Facebook. I have a couple, and we know that sometimes they like to post things up under pictures that don't have anything to do with the picture. Or we have friends who want to support us, but they might not want a copy of our book. And so we're going to talk about ways to get them on board. Okay, thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, Kimberly. All right, so they're not your ideal audience most of the time. So if they are not purchasing your book, thank you, Jamil. If they're not purchasing your book, that's okay, because they're not likely going to be your ideal reader. But we can use them to help us to find our ideal reader. Okay, so asking them to do things like tag somebody in the comments who is a new mom, tag somebody who has a child with cerebral palsy, tag somebody who is a teacher if your book's for teachers. They're likely going to know somebody in those categories. They're going to know somebody who has whatever your book's about. And because they're going to tag them, their friends are all going to see what it's about. Okay. You can ask them to opt in to be a part of the team. So what that means is that same interest list page that I talked about for my book, I made a separate list for people who wanted to be on my street team, my team to help promo. So I said, if you want to help me promote this book, sign up here on this list and I will send you things to help you out with this. Okay. One moment. Yes. Okay. Bye. Love you too. My mom came to watch the kids, so she was telling me bye. Thank you. But he didn't wake up. Okay. I'm live, Mom. Bye. I'm live. Bye. Okay. She was telling me the baby didn't wake up. Okay. So asking them, friends and family, you gotta have friends and family. See? Friends and family. I love my mama for helping out. Asking them to be part of the street team is going to be something that's going to help you to be able to advertise as well. And if you didn't get that cheat sheet, go ahead and get that as well. I did not use a Google form. You can use a Google form though. That's an easy way to do it. But there's not automations that come with that. So basically after you get the Google form, you still would have to email them on something. So I would still suggest using an email service provider, and check out that item in the guides in the check out the item in the guides in the group for email marketing. Yes, Tiffany, I'll tell you. Say hello. She's so silly. Okay. So strategies for your street team. Asking them, this is a post I did 2020. Asking them, hey, you might not want to copy the book, but do you want to help me promote? And ask them to comment below. Once again, 26 people or 26 comments, y'all. Because there's people who want to help you, but they might not want to buy a copy of the book, and that's okay. Asking them to tag a friend who fits with this. Okay? Share with a friend who this applies to. All of these are strategies. And then when they do that, repost what they do. Let them know how y'all did. This is a group project. Okay? When people buy your book, when you're getting your stats, thank them. Tell them thank you. Let them know that they did a great job. All right, so here are some other examples of my street team. One of the things I asked them to do is I asked them to repost graphics. I gave them the graphic. I let them pick which one they want to post. And then I had them tag me. So that way I could repost and reshare what they have tagged. You might want to take a screenshot of this as well. I'm going to get some more. Okay, and we are almost done. I know, going long. Yes, it's a group project. And I say it like this. So you see people online and you see their kids. You've never met that kid a day in your life. Oh my goodness. Travis is going to college. You have never met Travis. Travis doesn't even know you exist. But you've been watching that child, and not in a creepy way, but you've been watching them, you've been watching them grow up. People are going to be watching your book baby grow up. So you want to let them know how they did and how the book baby turned out. So you don't want to just fall off the face of the earth and not give them updates. Even years later. So recently, like I said earlier, I reached 200 reviews on Amazon. I posted that because it's a thank you to the audience. And I said, thank you so much for helping me get to this stage because I couldn't have done it without you all. Okay. All right. Right here we have a book secret, bonus chef secret. Creating a book bundle. I've mentioned this earlier, but I wanted to kind of show you what that looks like. So you've noticed a trend, something in common with these different folks. They have book bundles. So not just the book, but actually including things with the book to increase the value of the book. So digital copy, autograph copy, journaling kit, stationery pen, stickers, decorative tape, note card, a decorative paper clip, and then access to a cooking class. So these are all things that were included, and it was a $67 value for $27. Okay. So adding things to your book that are going to help somebody to be able to complete the book and make them feel like they got a really good value. All right, here's the bundle for the Daniel Fast book like I was telling you about earlier. I did all digital items with this. I did not include physical items aside from the book. So I gave them a digital copy of the book if they wanted to print it out. And this really fit because I had things like meal planners in there, scripture references. So if they wanted to print it out and put it somewhere on the wall, that was helpful for them. An autographed copy of the book plus a pen. Actually, I'm sorry. I didn't do the pen because of media mail and it was going to be an issue. I gave them access to a challenge, which was a 3-week challenge because that's how long the fast is, for people to be able to join me live to talk through their challenges, their progress, their success. And then they got a Facebook group for the book as well. That's still in existence now. And so there's recipes and things like that in there. So thinking about what you can bundle with your book, get your screenshot ready, get your screenshot finger ready. These are items and examples of things you can add to your book to bundle. So copies of the book, branded items, bookmarks, digital products, courses, classes, digital downloads, checklists, tons of stuff here. Get it, get it, get it. 3, 2, 1. And if you got the download, then it's in there as well. So if you got your book pre-sale timeline, it's in there too. So okay, now we have another client spotlight. So this is D.M. Whitaker of Water Rocks Publishing, and these are her pre-sales. She did $500 in book bundles, and her strategies were social media posting, email marketing. She also does vending events, and she's the author of the Scary Dinosaur and Stinky Skunk series, as well as almost, I think, a dozen other books as well. She cranks them out. And so she's also been added to grocery stores, national grocery stores as well. Hy-Vee, which is part of the Kroger brand of stores. And so for her pre-sales, she was able to do this with these strategies. Okay, now frequently asked questions. And I know we had a question earlier, so please add your question back earlier if I missed it. So website pre-sales don't count towards bestseller status, but they do lead to other sales if you do it the right way. So your book sales stats for these books, when I'm giving them, is for the first 3 months after your release. So first 3 months of your launch. And that's because as you're building this buzz online, you're creating this buzz on your email, you are still going to be reaping the benefits of that. It doesn't just automatically shut off when the pre-sale stops. Okay. So thinking about bestseller status and your sales on Amazon. Doing this is going to help keep the momentum rolling because people have seen your pre-sale online and they're thinking, oh, okay, well, I might have missed out on the pre-sale, but now I can actually get this book on Amazon. And then they're going to recommend it to other folks. They are going to be able to continue that for you as well. So I'm going to give you stats on how mine did within that first 2 to 3 month period. Okay, so for the mom book, it did 200 copies in 2 months, and it was able to get on a couple hot new releases as well. And to date, this one has sold a little under 400, between 400 and 500 copies. And then for the Daniel Fast book, this one did 400 copies in 2 months. And I need to change this because last year it ended up being the top 8,000 books on Amazon at one point. You know, those bestseller statuses, they changed, but got top 8,000. And then also some hot new releases as well. And this one sold over 3,000 copies at this point. So you can still get a buzz and still get those sales on Amazon, even if you do a pre-sale. I think that was one of the questions. And you can do this by doing things such as a review campaign. So asking those people who got your pre-sale, hey, can you please go ahead and leave a review on Amazon for me? Because you've already got that set number of pre-sales, then they're actually able to just transition that over to Amazon. Give them that direct review link and they can add that there. Doing your pre-sale reviews, creating a buzz on social media. That buzz is still happening. So as that's happening, go ahead and ask them, hey, leave a review on Amazon. Did you get a copy of your book? Can you recommend this to other people? Things of that sort. Pre-sale buyers, you're going to ask them to repost and share when they get their book. You're going to have them, hey, post a picture of you with your book. I want to share that for folks. You also might want to do a book bonus website. So adding in items that go with your book and that help people to finish it, recommendations to use, supports, and things of that sort, and keeping your street team engaged by giving them things that they can do. So give them graphics they can post, give them wording they can use as well. Okay, so if you want to get a screenshot of this, these are websites you can host your pre-sale on. So for low-tech options, you can use PayPal and Stripe. Mid-tech card with 2 Ds, that's intentional. That's how it's spelled. Gumroad is another one. High-tech options, Wix, Weebly, or Square. And just as a reminder, or as something to note, the lower tech the option is, the more external steps you're going to have to do. So for PayPal, they're only going to collect payment. You're still going to have to email them some kind of way. Same for Stripe. For the high-tech ones, they'll have options all in it together, and you can just do it all in one. Okay, so get a shot of this, screenshot of this. All right, so how do pre-sales on your site affect Amazon reviews? People don't have to purchase from Amazon to be able to leave you a review. They can purchase from anywhere and be able to leave you a review. It just won't say verified next to it. You can also make sure you're creating an experience with your book. So adding those bonuses with it, adding those digital bonuses, that book bonus website. People are happy to leave you a review. You just have to ask them, and you might have to ask them more than once. Make it easy to leave them a review. There's a direct review link that you can use, and I can make a note to add that to the group as well. I think I've already posted it, but it makes it so that it takes them right to the review page, and it doesn't just send them to your listing on Amazon. And something to remember, your reviews aren't the most important or the only type of review option. So screenshots, DMs, like if you blur people's names out, you can share their screenshot. You can ask them, hey, you sent me this text message and it's really cool. Can I post it? Most of the time, people don't care. They're fine with it. So using that creates social proof to have people to be able to know, hey, someone's buying this book. Like it's not just her saying, oh, this is a good book. There's other people that are also purchasing it as well. All right, so pre-sale, we are winding down. We're almost done. Thank you for those who are hanging out with us. And if you're watching the replay, I should have said that earlier, definitely drop a hashtag replay because it'll be available for you in the group. So mistakes to avoid. Waiting until it's time to sell something to talk to your reader. Now, we are not the hit it and quit it type folks. We are not the let me just pop up when I need something. We are building relationships with folks. And so we want to make sure we are talking to them throughout our launch process. Not planning for time or delays. Make sure that you have some cushion in your pre-sale. Use that timeline cheat sheet to help you. And that way you'll know that you have time for things that pop up. Trying to do it all on your own. If you are trying to do every single one of these steps by yourself, I would highly recommend that you get some additional help. So either a virtual assistant or outsourcing some of that to us. We'd be happy to help you with that. And I do actually have an opportunity for you in just a few moments to get your pre-sale popping. Not testing out your software or your payment system. This is key. You want to make sure that your software works. You don't want to open up your pre-sale and then nobody can buy anything because it's not available and it's not working. And then not being strategic in your bundle. That's something that people will just add things to their book and then they wonder why they're not making money. And it's because you have to make sure that you're putting things with your book that actually make sense and that are going to be profit centered if your goal is to make money. Also, making a $200 mistake like I almost did with my first pre-sale. I did not realize with media mail, you cannot include pins with your order. And so for the Daniel Fast book, I had said I was going to add a pin. And with that doubled the cost of shipping. And so I had to readjust that by actually making sure I pretended to ship a bundle, got it sized at the post office, or you can use a postal scale at home, and realized, okay, this is not going to be worth it for my reader, so I'm going to take this out. Okay. All right. Pre-sale best practices. You might want to get some screenshots going for this. So, setting it so that you have a SMART goal. So specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. Now, you don't want to say, I'm going to sell 1 million books and you haven't been talking to anybody about your book. That's not smart, and that's not relevant. It's not achievable or measurable. It's measurable, but it's not achievable. Limiting the number of pre-sales creates a sense of urgency and energy. So if you're saying, I only have 50 book bundles because that's all the capacity that you have with your time or energy, whatever, that makes people more encouraged to buy. Setting clear expectations. These are my shipping timelines. Your books are going to ship this week. You should get them this week. I will give you tracking. Building that trust with folks is very important. Scheduling out your emails and social media posts ahead of time. Now, for the reminders that you got for this class, I scheduled them out ahead of time so that I would not have to be behind the computer trying to post them while also doing things for my family. I got them out ahead of time. You can do that for your items as well. Consider a book bundle to increase your customer experience and increase sales. So instead of just selling your book for $10, selling a bundle for $20, $30 can really increase the value that you're giving folks. Working backwards with your timelines. So if you know, I want to release my book by December, I want to do my pre-sale, you got to give some time for that. It's really mapping that out. Okay. Planning out your pre-sale properly to time with your book publishing date. Being transparent with your customer during the journey so they know what to expect. Testing out your shipping weights, making sure that you have the right amount for your shipping because that can eat up your costs a lot. Okay. All right, last customer spotlight. This is Erica Basora, and she's the owner of That's Love Publishing. She's also an author as well, and she was a done-for-you marketing client. She was able to make $1,500 in book bundles for her Little Miss Goes to Surgery book, and she used email marketing. We set that up for her and scheduled out her emails, social media marketing, and then she also did speaking gigs in person, and she appeared on podcasts. So definitely proud of Erica and her success for her pre-sales. All right, so if you are someone who is wanting to get your pre-sale popping, you want to make sure that your pre-sale is done properly and you're able to make sales from it, then I want to introduce you to my Get Paid to Publish system. Most authors pay to publish. Smart authors get paid to publish. So this is an opportunity to learn from me directly and to collaborate with others in a small group on your book pre-sale to be able to get paid to publish. And so I'm going to talk to you about what's included with this. So you are going to get access to, and actually I'm going to skip on over. Okay, so you're going to get access to a live session with me. It'll be next Thursday, so a week from today. And we are actually going to create your pre-sale bundle. So you'll know exactly what you're selling. You'll know who you're selling it to. And we will map out what that looks like. And for this, I'm going to max it out at 10 people to give us specific feedback, to be able to do some small one-on-one time together, and to be able to really help you optimize that time to make sure it's worthwhile. That also includes my pre-sale and book bundle guide, and this is going to help you with profitable book bundle ideas. It's going to help you to make sure your pricing is right, that you have the right pricing strategy. It will help you with that goal setting to make sure you have SMART goals that are attainable for your audience and for your timeline. And then also it's going to help you pick your website platform to know which one is the best option and build your audience. Okay. Then you are going to get social media post templates for your pre-sale. So you're going to get post templates, so those visuals, the graphics, so that you can edit them to fix your or to fit your book so that it's something where people are going to stop scrolling. They're going to see, oh, okay, what's going on over here? What is she working on? And then you're also going to get wording for your social media posts because sometimes it's hard to know what to say. So I'm giving that to you. And then you are going to get email templates for your pre-sales. You're going to get the exact email templates I used for my pre-sales to get $2,200 in pre-sales. and the same templates that my clients use to get over $5,000 worth of pre-sales for their books as well. These include things like confirmation emails, leaving a review, that setback email where I had to break the news that Amazon lost the books, different things of that. So that way you are able to nurture your audience and make sure that they are getting a copy of your book or your bundle. You'll also get access to an audio and video replay of the intensive, the live session that we'll do together. And then you're going to get some bonuses. So you'll get pre-sale website wording templates and examples. So the actual website wording and visuals of what it looks like for your pre-sale. So that way you know what to do and what to put on yours to get people to purchase. And then you will also get, this is one I didn't put on here, but a fast action bonus for the first 5 people that sign up. I'm going to do one-on-one Voxer coaching for you to be able to work through any challenges that you have. And Voxer is just a platform I use where we can talk back and forth. And so you'll get one-on-one for a 30-minute session. And that's a $100 value that's being added on to this as an extra bonus just to make sure that you are successful with your pre-sale. Now, this is a total value of $1,900, but for today, I am offering it for $497. And if you'd like to join, you can scan that QR code there, and I'll put the link in the chat as well. But because you all stayed on to the end and you are part of the group, I'm actually doing a discount for you as a thank you. And so with the code, let me go back. If you enter the code PAID at checkout, then you can get $100 off, and this will be $397. And so I'm doing this because the power of pre-sales is amazing. And I know as a new author, first-time author, or even not even a new author, being an author is hard. And making sure that you are able to serve your audience, get things done what you need to get done, and still make money off of it, it's challenging. And so I want you to feel like you have support and that you have things in place so that you can just focus on finishing your book, focus on your book launch, so that way you can just be successful. And so the discount will be good until Monday, October 2nd. And so that's this Monday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know we have some international folks. So if you're watching the replay, don't worry, you still have time to take advantage of this. And to get to it, the link's in the chat, or you can scan this QR code right here. And so this is just something that it works. I've shown you that it works. And so if you have questions, I'm more than happy to answer them, whether it's about this or not, or if it's just about pre-sales in general, then we are going to move into Q&A. So let me know what questions you have in the chat, and I'll scroll back through as well to see if there is anything that I missed. And if you do sign up, go ahead and drop PAID in the comments so we can celebrate you getting paid to publish. All right, let me scroll back through and see if there were any questions that I missed. Okay. And then also, one other thing, if you're somebody who's like, I don't need the whole system, I don't need the live session together, I just really want those templates, I do also have that as an option as well. You'll find both of them at that same link. So here's a side by side of it. So you'll get the live session together where we'll plan out your intensive next Thursday. And then you'll get the pre-sale bundle guide, social media wording, social media templates posts so that way you can make your designs pop, email templates to know what to send your audience, and then a replay audio and video because some people like to listen. I know I'm an Audible girl. As well as bonuses for the website wording and examples and the one-on-one coaching. That's all for the $497, but only $397 with the code PAID at checkout. But if you just want the templates, then you can get those as well. All right, let's move on to Q&A. Let's see, I don't see any questions in the chat. I'm gonna hang back just a little bit longer and see if there's anything else I can answer for you. All right, I don't see anything popping up, but of course you can tag me in the group as needed. And I hope that this class has been helpful for you. I'm going to do some follow-up posts and ask you how your pre-sales are going. Yes, thank you, Tiffany. If you're still on, let me know if this has been helpful for you, and then drop something you learned in the chat as well. Okay, Tiffany said, this was great content. Thanks for this training. You are more than welcome. Kimberly said, thank you for your time and energy. This was so informative. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Erica said, this has been extremely helpful. Perfect. Okay, Jamel said, this was full of great information. Thank you so much. I learned so much. Yes, yes, yes. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Wonderful. We love to see it. And as you're working on your pre-sales, definitely tag me in the group, and I'm more than happy to answer your questions. If you want some, okay, Kim said, yes, very helpful. Hope to catch the deadline. Yes, so the offer is good until, the discount on the offer is good until Monday at 11:59 p.m. But if you decide after that you still want to do it, you can still join up until Thursday, because we will still, if there's still slots, because there's only 10 slots that are available. All right, Ashley said, thank you. Yes, great information. Courtney said, thanks so much. And if you are catching the tail end of this, I do encourage you to go back and watch the beginning of it as well. There is a free item for you to have also. All right. Okay, I'm not gonna hold you long. So thank you so much for your time, or any longer. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have enjoyed Get Paid to Publish. Have a good one.